Hello there, Michelle G here, Bendy Stitchy. My pronouns are she, her, and today is Saturday. It's the 5th of October, and I am coming to you, well, not live for you, but live right now for me and the patrons, for my new house. So that's where I've been. We bought a house, I think I might have mentioned it, and we're in. So this is the Croffice, which is the craft room / office, and it's really cute. I have some storage cubes over here, DMC over there, blanket sky, whole pile of stuff that I still need to hang on the walls, French doors on the other side. Like, it's a small room, but it's very cozy and it's fancy and I kind of love it. So, I want to say I haven't been stitching a whole lot, but it's been about 2.5 weeks since I filmed a Flosstube. That was the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit recap. That is my last video, Flosstube 359. And I stitched about 2,900 stitches, 10 days, moved house, organized a Croffice, still went to work full time. It's been great though. It's been great. Went to Rosie soccer games, watched her kick bootay. So cute. So getting right into it, I worked on 4 things. Only 4 things since the last video. The first one is part of my second most magnificent ink circles round robin. I'm in the Fellowship of Mordor. I think I requested to be in that group actually. This is hosted by Julia, Julicious, and they divided us up into groups and named us after Middle Earth. So this is Henna Mandala. This is Nuri, Nuri's project. Nuri of Shaded Stitchery fame. It's beautiful. Nuri actually sent us the called for floss, which is a Gloriana Floramel. So this is, and this needle minder is so cool. So this is Floramel Silk Floss in the colorway Red Clay. Just really, really pretty. And the needle minder is also a mandala. It's kind of heavy. So I stitched this in hand, so I didn't use the needle minder, but that's okay. It was still pretty to look at. I sat the needle minder next to me so I could put my needle on it, but here it is. I did the 3rd quarter of this. It was meant to be sent out September 30th, but here we are, October 5th, so I'll send it out today. So this is my quadrant, and I think it's actually, it goes this way. I don't know which way it goes. It's whatever. This is the part I stitched. So I stitched with the fabric oriented this way, so I'll just hold it this way. So you can see, gosh, it's so pretty. This is, this fabric is a 32 count, I believe, even weave. I'm pulling it up right now so that I can see it. It's a 32 count even weave from Hand Dyes by Jim, and the colorway is called Cinnamon Roll. And it looks like a cinnamon roll. It doesn't smell like a cinnamon roll, unfortunately, but it looks like a cinnamon roll. But have you seen those reels? Looks like a cinnamon roll, could kill you. Looks like a cinnamon roll, is a cinnamon roll. Looks like they could kill you, could kill you. Every time I say this looks like a cinnamon roll, that's what... It looks like a cinnamon roll, and it is a cinnamon roll. Yeah. I think, what do you think? I look like a cinnamon roll. I think I am a cinnamon roll, right? I think so. Anyway, this was beautiful. So much fun to stitch. I love round robins because you can look at the back and you can definitely see that 3 different hands have worked on this project. Nuri's back is so delicate and neat. I don't know how she chose her path, but like, not the way I chose my path. It's just beautiful. And then, yeah, it's gorgeous. This was fun to work on, and I will get this in the mail ASAP for my next person. I even forgot who I send to, but it'll come to me. It's all written down. It's okay. There's an email chain and a group chat, so no problem. I receive from staff Pocket Roddy, and I send to, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's okay. It's fine. The next thing I worked on, not chronologically. Oh, and I have not put in my strand of floss yet. This was my tail end. You're not going to be able to see it no matter where I hold it, but you can kind of see I'm holding here, if I hold it here. That is my tail end from Nuri's project. I haven't put it in my tail end project yet, but I will. That's my tail end. So that'll go, right after I'm done filming, that'll go into my tail end project. The other thing that I worked on since we last met is my retreat spot sampler. I decided to go in go ahead and put in, so I finished, I don't think I had this done the last time we chatted. So I put in PNWSS 2024, and I'm sorry for those of you with closed captions, because it was brought to my attention that in closed captions, PNWSS doesn't close caption like this. It closed captions something different. PNWSS. Just you extrapolate it out. So I finished that Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit 2024 with the raccoon and the beaver, and then I went ahead and I put in my Midwest 2017 motif. That is from this is actually a freebie from a French designer, Mary Stigrills. I don't know. I linked it somewhere, but it's a French designer, and it's a freebie. And actually, on the actual freebie, there's this tree, and there's a haunted house here with some bats in the sky, and then there's 3 pumpkins underneath, and it says Halloween or something like that. But Michelle Rudy kitted it up for us and gave us a little box, and so we could fully finish it. And so I stitched mine from the retreat and fully finished it and put it on the box. And then I actually took the bag from Stitchville, USA, because this was my first time at this retreat. I went to this retreat, and that was my first time going to Stitchville, USA in Minnesota. And I lined my box with pieces of my bag from Stitchville, USA. So I put that on there, and I'm going to call this complete, because there's one more motif. There's one more retreat there's 2 more retreats that I went to that are not represented on here. But I don't necessarily want to remember those retreats for various and sundry reasons. So because of that, I'm not putting them on my sampler, and I'm okay with that. So I'm actually right now meant to be at the Barefoot Needle Art Beach retreat, but I couldn't. While Wade would have been fine with it, I did not feel good closing on a house, moving into the house, and then taking 5 days and flying to South Carolina to go to a retreat. So I didn't want to, but I canceled the retreat. But it was late enough that Amy and Memory couldn't fill my spot anyway. So they said they would send me my kit. So I will put a motif on there. Holly designed the design. Holly, my friend Stitchy Pros, who's at the retreat, who I'm also missing right now, designed the design for that retreat. So I will put that on here, because while I didn't get to go, I was there in spirit. So those are my 2 new motifs, and this is now caught up. So now this can just go to every retreat with me, and I'll stitch the motif on it, and I don't have to go back and play catch up for placement. So that feels really good. Let me just, I don't really keep any floss or anything with this, because I don't. I try to use the floss that came with the kit, although this Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, it was all kitted up in a brand of floss that I just don't use anymore. So I re-kitted it in Threadworks. So I used 3 Threadworks for the main colors on the raccoon and the beaver, and then I supplemented with other stuff from Stash. And I do keep it in a bag, Stitchinanigans. And this was the retreat. This was the project for the retreat of Stitchinanigans. And I don't think that I could make that small enough to fit on the thing. So I just keep it in the bag. But that's also one of the retreats that I don't necessarily need to immortalize. So I will show you, though, I did put my tail ends in. This is my tail end project. So if you haven't been here before, welcome for the first time. And if you've been here before, welcome back for another time. If you've been here before, you've seen this probably. This is my tail end project. And what I do is those tail ends of floss, like this, rather than putting this back on the floss ring, I just stitch a few stitches in a monochromatic color. So that was my first tail end project. This is Quaker Coronet from Queenstown Sampler Designs, not Australian. Queenstown Sampler Designs. That's Quaker Coronet. It's meant to be monochromatic, but I just did it tail end, so it's super cool. And then for my next one, I chose Modern Folk Embroidery. This is called A Summer Bower. This was in the Lakeside Needlecrafts summer book a couple years ago. And here is where I am with that. So this is actually beads right here from my Persian pumpkin that I just finished. And then I think all of this, if I'm not mistaken, from the heart and all of this is my retreat spot sampler. So I did all of that. And then I will add this. And this will be all caught up with everything that I've stitched on since then. So super cool, super fun. I do have to say that I received a message from Marjorie. Marjorie Made Stitches. And I have to take, sorry. Rosie had a soccer game this morning. It was like 59 degrees outside. So I don't know if you've seen these. These are called Little Hotties. I'm not sponsored. These are called Little Hotties, and they're from Costco, and they heat up. And so Wade and I keep them in our pockets at cold soccer games, and then they keep our hands warm. Then we give them to Rosie after the game, and they keep her hands warm. They warm her back up. But they stay hot for 8 hours. So after I get home, I just put them in my pockets, keep myself warm. But they just got a little too hot. So after I'm done with Summer Bower, Marjorie and I are going to start tail-ending a long dog. I think she's going to do the Pilgrim. I'm going to hope against hope that I have a long dog in stash, and that will become, the why behind that will become apparent after a little while, once I start talking about my plans. So those are all the things I finished. And then this is my new WIP right now. It's not really mine. This is Mother Maya from Ink Circles. This is Heather, the Imperfectly Perfect Stitcher. This is theirs. And Heather and I have been meaning to stitch this together for like an age. It's probably been 3 or 4 years that we've been meaning to stitch this together. So we're doing a rogue round robin. Heather and Stephanie Pocket Roddy and Rachel Ray and I are doing a rogue round robin. So we've made our own group. And Heather said they'll divide this into motifs and we'll each stitch 4 motifs. So I am stitching this snaky snake. I stitched that, and right now I'm working on this one. And then I can't quite decide if I'm going to do this alien looking thing or if I'm going to do the butterfly and the dragon looking thing. I'm definitely doing the butterfly. So it's either the alien and the butterfly or the butterfly and the dragon. So we'll see. But I should be able to finish this motif today because after I'm done filming this, I'm just going to veg out on the couch, watch Michigan play football, and stitch. So Heather sent us this beautiful silk. Beautiful silk. This silk is, I'm not shipping any of this actually because I don't have tape. We ran ourselves out of tape. So that's a bummer. So Heather sent me this gorgeous silk and I forgot to put it in I didn't put it in my Notion. This is Wine. So this silk is from Almond M&M's and it's called Wine. And you can see, gosh, the lighting in here is good. This is maybe a little purpler than it's reading, at least on my screen. It's a little more purple than it's reading. But we'll see how it looks when I pull it up, when I hold it up on the project. So, and then this is a 40 count Lakeside linen in buttercream, I believe. And I've been stitching this in hand. It's been a joy to stitch. This just underscores the fact that I really want to stitch this for myself. I actually have this in stash, so I could. Here it is. Yeah, that's more like it. It looked more red when I was holding it up by itself, but here it's definitely, that's reading more true. So I stitched this snaky, chumpy, bitey guy, and then I did the outline of this, and I'm filling in the inside. So this inside, that motif will just repeat 4 times. Bloop, 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 bloop. And then I think I'll probably just do the aliens, because it makes sense, right? And then this part's done. And then I'll come over here and put in the butterfly at the bottom. And then that'll leave 4 motifs in this region for Rachel Ray. That makes sense to me. Although the alien is a lot of stitches. I was going to save it for Rachel. Meh. Doesn't matter. I'll do the alien. That's what makes sense. So that's that for the stitching. That's all of the stitching. That's all of my finishes. Nuri's Henna Mandala was a SAF. SAF, start and finish, from the last video to this video. Even though I didn't like start it, the whole thing, I didn't finish the whole thing. It was a start and finish because I started my quarter and finished my quarter. So count it. And then Mother Maya, I'm working on Retreat Spot Sampler, Summer Bower. I'll keep working on Summer Bower. And then as far as plans, so my overarching plan is, how long can I stitch from stash? That's my plan. Because one thing that happens when you move house is you got to pack everything. And then you got to unpack everything and put it away. And during my packing everything and my unpacking everything, I realized that I have a lot. Everything is a lot. And it's okay. Like, I'm not consuming cross stitch supplies to an extent that it interferes with my bills. And I also realized that I probably could back off a little bit on the buying of things. So I canceled my bag of the Quarter Club. I canceled my Adam Hart cross stitch floss drop of the Quarter Club. That hurt. I canceled my Threadworks nest egg with Trisha from 3 Owl Threads. That hurt. And I canceled my Stitchy Box Floss of the Silk of the Month Club, and that hurt. So the things that I did not cancel, and I don't plan to cancel, are my Patreon subscriptions. So I will continue. I'll still get a Dying to Stitch floss every month, and then I will get charts from the patrons that I patronize. Not like in a patronizing way, but from the patrons that I support, I'll continue to get their charts because I'm just not canceling those. I'm just not. So I will have one skein of floss every month and one thing of fabric every month that I'll still split with Anna, and then a few charts every month. So I'll still have things coming in and I'll still have some money going out, but I'm trying to be much more frugal. And it's not really about the money for me. It's about the accumulation. So I'm going to really make an effort to not accumulate as much. I also have about 800,000 fully finished items that I don't know what to do with. I don't have 800,000, but I have a fair few. So finishes like little pillows and stuff, they don't do well at auction. I would auction some of them, but they don't do well. So my options are to gift them, thrift them, or display them. And I think I'm going to come down somewhere between gifting and displaying because I just can't send them to the thrift store. I would rather have somebody see something like shop my shelf. And I'd rather have somebody see something and be like, oh my gosh, that brings me so much joy, and just send it to them. Right? Because I can't let them die at the thrift store. And I know, maybe a stitcher will find them because I find stuff too. But like, what if they don't? Like, what if somebody takes it home and gives it to their dog for a chew? We can't do that. I can't even think about that. No. So it'll be somewhere between gift them and display them. It'll probably be a little bit of both. So, speaking of stitching from stash, I have a couple of ways that I can stitch from stash. 2 things that are coming up. Number 1, and these are both sales that I've actually kept up on for this entire year. So number 1 is the Stitch for Pride. Not August. Goodness gracious. October Stitch for Pride came out, which is Richard. Is it Richard Gorey? I think it's Richard Gorey. And here's my Stitch for Pride currently. And I have a perfect floss for it, which of course I didn't get out. It's somewhere over there. But this is my Stitch for Pride so far. This is September. And then I think October goes here or it goes here. Edward Gorey. Richard Scary, the one that does the little animals, and then there's Edward Gorey. I get them mixed up. But I'm excited to do the learning and then do the stitching for Stitch for Pride because I've actually kept up on this sal and I want to be finishing it in December. So that's plan number 1. Plan number 2, the other sal that I've actually kept up on, is Pick-a-Whip. So I'm going to take you over to my Notion app because of course Nutty has a template for Pick-a-Whip. So you can see this is the status column. Excuse me, I'm drinking Sprite. Done, 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 done. And this is every fortnight for the whole year. I'm done, 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 done. Now, have I completed them late? Of course I have. Who cares? So right now, the call for the last fortnight of September was an Aida project, or Aida, if you prefer. And I will be working on Bushland Quaker 2. If you don't know it, this is Bushland Quaker 2. It's by Mojo Stitches. And my goal was to finish it originally, but I amended that goal because I'm busy right now to, I just want to finish the Swan Mandala. And then I have this delusion that I will like hurry up and finish things by the end of the year, right? This is why I love Notion though, right? So Nati made it so that this is a link. So if I click on this and I go to the WIP, then I can scroll down and say, oh, the last time I worked on it was February 14th. And when I worked on it on February 14th, this is what it looked like. Look how good Notion is. So this is the beginning of that swan motif right here. So it's rather large. So there's the swan. Hold on, let me pull this up. We can have both. Okay, so there's the swan here, which I'll stitch here. You can see this motif in the red. I already have it started over here. And then this one's done. But there's the owl, these bluebirds, the plant, and then these ducks. So I have like, I would say slightly under half to go. It's like 45% maybe to go on this. Maybe 47% to go on this. I would really like to finish it. I just don't know if that's realistic along with everything else that I'm doing. But this is my only WIP that's on Aida. So that's the pick. And then I thought the next call was a Halloween project. And I thought, oh, I love Halloween. So like clearly I'll have a ton of projects to choose from when it comes to Halloween. Au contraire. I have one. I have one Halloween WIP, y'all. One. I love Halloween. Who even am I? It's a good one, though. This is Hex Hotel from Dee and Kari. I believe it was their Halloween release in 2021. Mostly believe that because that's the year I started it. Could have been in 2020. I don't really know. But this is what the thing looks like. And then that's what it looks like, and this is where mine is. Are you ready for this? Look at that blazing start. So this is on a piece of 40 count Verdal from Jody of Steel City Stitchers. I'm using Stitchy Box Bat Orchid for the black. I have a Stitchy Box Purple. Like a really beautiful deep purple for the purple, and then I think I have an Almond M&M's green that's like an acid, like an absinthe kind of green, and then I'm going to use a DMC glow in the dark white. But that's as far as I've gotten on that one. So my goal for that is not to finish it. My goal for that is section 3 right here. So because I have this divided up in sections for the hashtag divide and conquer cell, so I'll do that. My other option is because Edward Gorey is a little bit like Halloweenish and a little spooky, I could count my Stitch for Pride for this one, double dip, and not touch Hex Hotel this year. But I'm not sure, because I also have this whole thing where I've challenged myself to like, if you touch it this year, can you finish it this year? A little bit of yes and a little bit of no. Sometimes maybe yes, sometimes maybe no. So we'll see. I don't know. Can I do it? Maybe. Solid maybe. But those are my plans. So Stitch for Pride and Pick a WIP and my round robins. And I also am part of a collaboration that is due by October 19th in its fully stitched form, which it won't take me that long to stitch it. I'm stitching it on perforated paper, which is a first for me, designing on perforated paper, but I'm excited about that. It won't take that long to stitch, but I do have to stitch it. So that'll be done here in the next week or so too. Although I won't be able to show you until maybe like around Halloween time, because it's not my collab. So my thing with models and whatnot is like, I will totally show you pictures of models when I'm stitching models for me to release. But if I'm stitching a model as part of someone else's project, Jesse's Bird Box, this collaboration that I'm doing, a Starlight Stitchery box, I won't share it unless they've told me that I can. So this collab is like a keep it hush hush until we announce it. But it is a charity collab, so I'm excited about that too. I love those. All right. And then the only other thing is purchases. And I don't have much purchases, but this is, so I'm a member of Lil Stabby's Patreon. If you don't know Wit, I encourage you to know Wit because she's super cool. She's Lil Stabby's on Instagram. Let me show you. Lil Stabby's. She's on my frequent searches. Here we go. Lil Stabby's. Wow, on Patreon. And shameless plug for my friend, she is designing a ska sal. And she's working with Dying for Sass, who I'm also a Patreon person, supporter, whatever. I belong to Dying for Sass's Patreon. Because look at this fabric. It's dyed in this checkerboard, right? And I've seen the border for that. I think she teased the border. She might have teased it on her Patreon, actually. But there's a needle minder that goes with it. Everything is checkerboard. Everything is checkerboard. But I think oh, here it is. She teased the border. So that's a heck of a border, but like, come on, it's going to be perfect. So if you are a ska kid, then you definitely want to get in on Wit's Sal. And also kudos to her for doing the Sal because I'm still too chicken to design a Sal. I know I should, but I'm still... Anyway, oh, okay. What did I buy? I'm a member of Wit's Patreon, and I'm at the needle minder level, and she did these super cool... These are like polymer clay she does, and this is just... She let me pick my color, and this is just a skull. I love it looks like it might glow in the dark, but I haven't tried it yet, and she didn't say anything about it glowing in the dark. But I do love it. And this will match my fabric. No buying things means no supporting friends, but that's not true. No buying things means no buying friends new stuff, but what it can mean is I might add a section to my Flosstube every week called Things I'm Not Buying But You Should. That's terrible, but I don't feel terrible about it because I still want to hype my friends. So, and I will hype people who aren't my friends as well, but I definitely want to hype my friends. So that's it for the stitching, but let's talk about auctions because as soon as I get some tape, I'll be back in a place where I can do auctions again. And I have some really good stuff that's donated by some really good people. So we're back to supporting Restore Together Foundation for Care. And I think I talked about this. Janine was kind enough to let me do a charity table at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. And so we raised money for Restore Together Foundation for Care. I have to go back and add it up again. But I think as of November of last year, we've just been casually kind of fundraising for this charity. And this is a charity that's run by one of my surgeons at work and then my old boss. And that's my boss right there. She's not my boss anymore, but she taught me how to be a manager. That's her right there. And then I think, oh yeah, that's the surgeon. He always hides in the back. That's my boss's kid. That's one of the PAs. But that's another surgeon. But so a lot of these people, I work with them, and they go to the Dominican Republic every January, so they're kind of like amping up and gearing up for their trip, and they fix bones. They fix bones, and they teach people how to fix bones, and it's great. So we do fundraising for them, and I have some really good stuff this time. I think you're going to like it. I was going to wear a hat. This is not for fundraising. This is for me. Did I show this last time? A friend knit this for me. It says Rebel Scum. Anyway, I was going to wear it, but it got a little toasty in this room. So first, donated by a friend. This is, and I think I've talked about this before. I just haven't posted it as a thing. This is the entire Year in Chalk series. And it's got over-dyed flosses for most of the months. So I will go through and probably add, I think it's like 1 or 2 months that I'm kind of missing a floss color. But these flosses, and it's everything from Victorian Motto to Ozark Sampler, Color and Cotton, Romy's Creations. That's it. So all of those flosses. and then the whole years. So, oh, here we go. January, February, May. Oh no, that's March. Sorry, March. But it confused me because it says May. Leave me be. April, June, July, August. Oh, that was July. What the French? May, June, July. This is August. I'm going to start looking at them. September. I really like September. October. November. And December. And the call for is mostly gentle arts. So I'll find substitutes for the ones that I don't have. But that'll be one auction item. And I have 2 cross-stitch items, 2 knitting items this week. So the first knitting item is, this has got to be a sweater quantity. I don't exactly know, but it's this much yarn. So this is, I'm going to hold up one while I read it. This is Cascade Yarns, fine yarn. This is Cotton Rich DK. It's 64% cotton, 36% nylon. 50 grams is 135.6 yards. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 skeins in here. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think this is the 7th. 7 skeins in here. Maybe 8. There's probably 9 and 9. I'll count and know for sure. But these don't retail for a ton. These retail for, I looked it up, I think, well, 50 grams, 136 yards. It said $4.25 each, but that seems like not very much, right? Anyway, sweater quantity, not sweater quantity. Friends who knit, let me know. Is that a sweater quantity? It feels like a sweater quantity. That's the second auction item. Also donated by a friend. The third auction item is from me, and I feel so bad about this, but I never got to use this. This is a Tiny Presents, box from Fangirl Fibers, and it includes a, hold on, let me look this up. So it includes a pattern, and I'm going to show you a Ravelry page. So if you can't do Ravelry, then you should look away, and I'll tell you when it's safe to look back, okay? So here is the Ravelry page. It comes with the pattern for the 999 Happy Haunts wrap. And all these pictures are in black and white because the wrap is meant to go with the advent calendar, right? So you get the idea. It's rows and rows and rows, different rows, and it's a schlanket, as I like to call it, because there are 31 days of this yarn. So Ravelry's gone. If Ravelry bothers you, then you can look back now. I'm not showing it on my screen anymore. And this is the advent. So I balled up 3 of them. If you're a yarn baller, you're ahead of your game. If you're not a yarn baller, I'm sorry. But this is 31. It's got to be more than 31. This is a lot of little skeins. Let me count them again, because, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 18, 20, I guess there are 31. 21, 22, 23. There's not. There's 27. 27 skeins, mini skeins. Don't even ask me what they're all called, because I don't know. But I know that you can arrange them into a fade. So, Fangirl Fibers pretty sure Fangirl Fibers dyed the yarns. And then it comes with a 999 Happy Haunts wrap pattern from Jessica Anderson. That's yarn auction number 2. There's one more auction, and that is a cross-stitch auction. And I'm hoping everybody loses their shit over this, because that's what I want you to do for charity. This was donated by a friend, a good friend, at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. She finished stitching it, and she said, "What do you think you can get for this for charity?" This is Mystic Sampler from the Primitive Needle. It's an original pattern. This stitcher has had it since the designer was designing, probably. Mystic Sampler from the Primitive Needle, out of print, not going back in print, available only on the secondary market now. I'm going to kit this up. It's called for all in Weeks Dye Works, but you know me, I'm going to pull a conversion because I don't have any of those flosses. But I will kit this up and put it with fabric, and I'll take a picture of it. I'll try to find both a linen and an Aida, and I'll take pictures with both, and then the winner can decide which ones they want, or both, or whatever. But please do bid early and bid often. So all of that this week for RTFC, Restore Together Foundation for Care, as a charity. So that is now it. That's it for the stitching part. Let's talk about my tarot card and the books that I'm reading. If you want to stick around, great. If not, thank you for hanging out. I think I'm back. I'm back in the normal routine. So if you stream on Twitch, I'll see you tomorrow. If you don't stream on Twitch, then I will see you next Saturday, hopefully. But if you're sticking around, then let's stick around. My card today I pulled is from the Cozy Witch Tarot deck. This was a gift from my friend Anna. And I'm feeling very cozy in my new home. Feeling like a cozy witch. I don't know if I'm a witch, but I'm feeling cozy. And the card that I drew actually just popped out of the book. And this is the King of Wands. So a couple things I love about this deck. Every card has a woman on it, even the king cards. It's more about the energy than the gender. And they also have a little thing on the bottom that kind of clues you into the meaning of the card. So this thing at the bottom, I'm just going to read you, and they have a good book. So the thing at the bottom says, "Shine your inner candlelight bright enough for others to follow." And the book says, "Welcome, the king greets you. When you're passionate about something, you can assume you're the only one who cares about it, but that's not the case. There are always people who care just as much as you do." This card can represent an adult or someone at any stage of life who's dedicated and passionate. They may be an authority figure in your life, or they may not be. Either way, they tend to give off a heartfelt yet assertive energy. They know just how to attract like-minded people in pursuit of a common goal. If you're looking to achieve something big, perhaps it would be in your best interest to put up some metaphorical or literal flyers. Love it. King of Wands energy, my friends. Shine your inner candlelight so bright that others can't help but join you. Love that. And I finished a book. So I finished an audiobook. This is Assistant to the Villain. It's by Hannah Nicole Marer. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Marer. I mean, so I used to do this thing when I would check out a lot of physical books from the library. I would write a note and I would put it inside the library book. And I always started with, "Dear future reader." So I said for this one, "Dear future reader, do you like the slowest of slow burns? Do you enjoy a book that ends in the last 3 minutes and demands that you read the sequel? This one is for you. I did love the twist at the end, and I really like that just about every character is out here trying to overcome their trauma with varying degrees of success. I also love a smile as armor. I'm not mad that I read this book. I'm mad that the wait at my library for the sequel is in terms of months rather than weeks." The narrator was also a little bit robotic at times. 4 out of 5. So I'm not mad at this book at all. The slow burn was so slow. I was like, come on already. And then just as I thought we were going to get satisfaction, the pseudo ending with the cliffhanger. But I will say, the twist, even though I suspected the twist, I did not fully understand what I was in for when the twist hit. When the twist hit, I was like, oh, I knew it. And then the twist hit harder and it twisted and twisted again. So that was 10 out of 10. The twist was a 10 out of 10. The only thing that takes it down to a 4 for me is, number one, the narrator. It was almost a couple of times I was like, is this narrator AI? Like, is this... I thought maybe it was a robot reading the book, just because of the lack of inflection sometimes was strange with me. But then I got to thinking maybe she's a non-native English speaker, and that could account for the inflection changes. And then the wait time bothers me. Like, I have to have this sequel now. So I did. I without the narrator issues and without the wait time on the second book, it's probably a 5 out of 5. So I was just being a little salty. But I'm not mad about the slow burn. I'm not. And no character is any one thing. And I like that too, very much. So I'm excited. I definitely, I'm mad about the hold, but I have a hold in. So I'm going to be mad about it all day long, and I'm going to keep my hold. So, and then I moved on to something completely different. Now I'm listening to Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson, read by Neil deGrasse Tyson. So far, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. First of all, I don't know that Neil deGrasse Tyson could do any wrong. I think he's done so much to make science cool and understandable and accessible that I applaud him just for that. I will say that this is not astrophysics for dummies. This is astrophysics for people in a hurry. So this book does assume that you have a basic knowledge level, or that you're willing to stop the book and Google when you don't know a thing. Because I think it could work either way, right? He's right now in the part that I'm listening to, Tyson is going through kind of briefly what makes up the universe. Photons and quarks and matter and antimatter and electrons and protons that are kind of there and kind of not there. And he name drops CERN and Hadron Collider. And if you don't know, I like looking at this book from a place of, you might pick up this book if you're like, I know nothing about astrophysics, let me learn. If you pick up this book from a perspective of zero background knowledge in astrophysics, let me be perfectly clear, I am not an astrophysicist, okay? I've read a couple books. I'm not an astrophysicist. But if you come to this book from a place of zero knowledge of physics or astrophysics, then when he really talks about, Newton's laws and how they're immutable, and then how Einstein came along and found there is a kind of a loophole in Newton's laws, but he could explain it with the theory of relativity, and that explains things with exceedingly large mass and blah, blah, blah. Don't get frustrated with this book if you don't have a big science background. Just be willing to pause the book, look up the thing that you're not sure about, and come back to the book. And I think, honestly, that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson would want you to do. He would want you to read his book or listen to his book, pausing him to go find out more about a thing you wanted to find out about, and then come back to him. I really like it. So far, so good. I did have to pause once. What did I have to pause about? I think it was something about quarks. He was talking about quarks, and I was like, oh, I've vaguely heard of quarks, right? But I wanted to know more. I wanted to know a little bit more about quarks. I'm not a physicist, but I have friends who are physicists, so I've heard about quarks, but I could not discuss them in any great detail. So I did pause and look up quarks a little bit, but also listening to him read his book, really good. I like it. I like it a lot when an author reads their own book. I enjoy his voice. So I also watch documentaries that he narrates. So kind of a flip, but also a really good follow-up to Assistant to the Villain. I did a Google search for the 50 best nonfiction books of all time, and that was on there. So, yeah. And there's also someone, Helen just reminded me that not only does he have astrophysics for people in a hurry, but he also has a book. Let me see if we can find it really quick. He adapted it. Also, like, I love anyone that can wear a vest like that. Oh, wait. I didn't show you my desktop. This is Neil deGrasse Tyson looking pretty fly in a celestial vest. That's goals right there. So he did a book. Oh, wow. He has a bookshelf on what to read. I've read 7 of his book recommendations. No. Oh, this is his own bookshelf. Just kidding. Just kidding. He has astrophysics. So I'm reading Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, but he also has like a kiddo version for the littles, which I'm sure you can find it if you can Google it. Anyway. Anyway, he has a book for the kids, Astrophysics for the Kiddos. That's not what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. So that's all I've got, y'all. I've got a lot of plans, as usual, and intent to not buy things, which is kind of usual for me. But let's see how I do. I don't know. I think it'll be good. Again, if you like to stream, I'll be here and on Twitch tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time streaming. If you don't like to stream, then I'll catch you on the next Flosstube, which should be next week, because I do have plans to be in New Orleans at the end of the month for Magnet Conference for nursing, so I'll probably take a week off of filming at the end of October. But other than that, I don't see any interruptions coming our way. Not like this move that just happened. So thank you for hanging out, and hopefully we'll talk again soon. And until I see you, I had thought of something else to say at the end, but I lost it now. So just keep do whatever you need to do every day for you, and make sure that you're important to yourself. I'm winging it and I gotta go. I'll see you later. Bye.